afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another run of the Final Fantasy Spring 2020 tournament, and oh my god, what happened? Elastoid, please tell me what happened here.
Well, Dengwoo started the draft off with a white mage, and GregglyPuff, I've always believed in this strategy. Whatever they pick first, if you're picking second, just pick two of them. Pick two again, and dare them to pick the fourth one as the same one. So Greggly countered white mage, and Dengwoo blinked and chose a thief. So that's the party that we have here. So it looks like this is going to be an extremely white magic dependent seed. That's what you get from the really smart commentators here. Is they can see that white magic is going to be very important here, and we'll see how this goes.
All right, so buckle in. We could be here for a while, depending on where Fade lands. This could be anywhere from like the fastest jet seed ever to 3-hour extravaganza.
Yeah, key magic is going to include Fade. It's going to include Exit, and if we can't get any access to Fade, we'll at least take some harm spells so we can kill some zombies and get something like. Please, seed, throw us a bone. Right, I rolled this seed, so I'm already regretting rolling it. This is, by the way, the pair down match. Dengwoo is 3-1, and GregglyPuff is sitting at 2-2. And I believe that our gatekeeper forgot he was gatekeeping for a second, so this will be getting underway in a moment. Looks like, yeah, I have no idea how many. It looks like Greggly probably going to Dan at least one white mage, having the white mage started up front. Dengwoo might not be doing so, but it's going to depend on the. It's going to depend entirely on the magic that we see.
Yeah, I have no idea. Oh, we got a false start from Dengwoo. I saw that counter go up by a little bit. Can't put one over on me, Deng.
Well, you can start your timer whenever you want, like as long as you don't start the race early.
Because that's true.
So, if you're interested, if you enjoy this match, stay tuned because we've got another match right after between, I believe it's Specty, and I'm not sure who else. It's.
Harm 4. All right.
Specty and Dark.
It's on the table.
Okay, so that's important. So after this, we got Specty and Dark Moon, and the same commentators apparently. So we have Warp level 1 and Temper level 1. That's going to be important once we class change and get some levels on the Thief. Although, yeah, the Thief is wielding a scimitar and we have cloth armor. This is not the start that you'd expect.
It should be fine. Go up to Temple of Fiends, kill some undead folks. It'll be great. Yeah, Dengwoo can't even afford the inn.
So Dengwoo making a smart play here, I think.
Oh
my god! He knows he can't immediately kill Garland necessarily. He's gonna grab the Thor hammer for free from the king, and that is huge. Meanwhile, GregglyPuff gonna find a loose Oxyale sitting in the Temple of Fiends. That's also fairly good. Takes one loose item off the table. Greggly gonna hit level 2 probably from these guys. And Dang, if you have the Thor hammer, do you start off with pirates?
It's a pretty good possibility. I mean, you can.
You do it before you kill imps, don't you?
Yeah. So judging from this, Dang's not gonna do it.
Yeah, I would say that Deng's probably gonna try and gain a level with the Thor hammer here, whereas Greggly opting not to go for a Garland fight. Hard to argue with that. I don't know how hard he can swing that scimitar, but he's gonna key into that play, and he's gonna check the king as well, get his Thor hammer. So, little known fact: the randomizer does remove the requirement that the king has, where you need to talk to, or you need to rescue Princess Sarah before he'll do it. He'll just give you the item right away in the randomizer. So that's one free item that you picked up, and I gotta feel like you would hope for the Thor hammer there.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, is there anything else you would prefer to see?
Not prefer, no. I wouldn't mind seeing the Opal Cheerio either, so I could sell it.
Well, would you sell the Opal Cheerio on a party that couldn't wear armor?
It depends. Do I need gear and equipment badly? Because yeah, I'd sell that in a heartbeat.
So, to anyone wondering whose fault this draft is, I guess the blame could officially be placed on Greggly for countering the white mage with 2 white mages, but I feel like he was going to do that no matter what. So, like, part of the blame could go on to Dengwoo for choosing the white mage, but I don't think he knew that the consequences of choosing 1 white mage would be getting 3, so this is just sort of the way it played out. Oh, Markin weighing in says, this is all on Deng. He knew what was coming. Okay, well then, yeah. And Sahags with Lit 2 are making Salen a little bit more dangerous than you would hope.
It's alright, there's 3 encounters right there, so Greg should be able to make it heroic enough.
Yeah. It's my favorite word when we're talking about the randomizer is should. As I don't know what Deng ran into that got one of his white mages stoned, but he purchases some softs, so looks like probably gonna bring this white mage back. Or he purchases 1 soft. Yeah, that's Greggly's gonna kill the pirates, he's gonna get level 4, and he's gonna find a canoe. So that's usually a blessing. Here it might not be. If you're trying to decide where progression would be, Marsh Cave, when you have Harm and you have the Thor Hammer, wouldn't be necessarily the worst place, but this makes it possible that you gotta get through like a Gurgu slog or an Ice Cave slog before you can get anywhere.
Alright, Ruse, Gear 2, Heal, and Lamp. Oh, it's going well so far. Here we are.
And GregglyPuff, always a memer, is going to spend 250 gold purchasing Lamp. That was a significant chunk of his remaining cash, and he hasn't visited Elfland yet. He could easily find like silver bracelets for cheap, and wish he had that money.
And then gets a fair amount of cash from Matoya and a defense sword.
So yeah, that defense sword definitely going to be useful after promotion. In the meantime, it's a free cast of Ruse, which isn't going to make a big deal in the early game, but it can be a huge deal later.
I'm actually still secondhand mad about this draft.
You're just trying not to rage.
Alright, well, Greggly is gonna totally forget that he has the canoe.
I don't know that. Oh yeah, he is. I think he remembered he goes to cut across here, yeah. So he walked around the river just, I guess, for luck, and then remembered, oh hey, So, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know
thanks.
how much I like his chances of getting all the way back. You know, if he's got save items, then fine, but without a thief... Okay, yeah, he's got save items. He's gonna be fine.
I mean... Ugh.
Falconic saying, "Oh, how bad can it be?" 4 hours later, it's even better than that because on this channel we're scheduled for Dark Moon versus Specty, the same comms and the same channel. So if this one runs long, then they're gonna have to push their match back because it won't have any commentators or a channel to run on.
I'd just give this match the old stage game. I'm out.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Just say if you want to see who wins, follow the runners. Because as soon as this draft happened, they both lost. Well, I mean, you never know. Elflin could be sitting there with Life and Exit and Fade, you know. But we won't know until they see it. So looks like they've done their reciprocal checks now, and Dengwoo, before he even goes to Elfland, is gonna do a pop grind. What do you think about this, Edge? Is this a little ambitious before you check Elfland?
Well, you don't have any cash before you check Elfland anyway, so you might as well.
Well, you got the Batoya stuff. You haven't even checked these chests where you find, well, not much. A white shirt's going to be useful later. It's not going to be useful right now. Farm Fort going to be really effective on the zombies, not so much on the trolls.
Yeah,
and
I think you have to reroll that fight anyway.
Yeah, trolls doing troll things. They cast sleep because they don't need to kill you to troll you.
Yeah,
Keston in chat, did they draft this? No, they both individually decided that 3 white mages and a thief was going to be the party that would give them the best chance to complete the seed quickly.
Alright, well, we got Life 2.
Life 2 and Harm 3, which we're not picking up apparently.
We have Harm 4, we're fine, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if you're doing a pop grind, you know, having Harm 3 is going to allow you to save some houses. And it looks like we have, was it Heal 3 and Exit?
Yep.
And the Thief will eventually be learning fast, so it'll be good. He'll be able to cast fast on his Mass Immune swinging White Mage. Or on himself, but...
Alright, there's gold bracelets, so... See you later.
Yeah, so, I mean, the Seed given plenty of stuff to get all this done, as long as you have the cash. And it looks like Greggly's going to make that Crescent Lake check. Dengwoo a little bit ahead of him in that check. Gonna find no vendor item, and not terribly upset about that. What you really don't want to see here is, you know, like a TNT or something that you have no idea whether it'll be useful or not, but it's max price.
No, there's a key.
The Mystic Key should solve their financial woes. Usually, if you need money, robbing royal treasuries tends to be fairly lucrative.
Yeah, unless the royals have gotten there first. There's just an IOU and a cloth armor.
So Dengwoo not going to make that play, instead chooses to... I think he's going to check Armory. I don't expect that he's going to make any deep grinds right now. Or any deep dives.
And it's potentially dangerous, because if you run into any unrunnables, you're pretty much toast.
Yeah, so like any of these trips can be immediately halted. I mean, you do have the Thor hammer, so like if you've got unrunnable Paralysts, maybe you can get out, but there's no guarantees.
Alright. Mega's just gonna take the money and run. Yep. There's the cloth armor.
Okay, yeah, I mean, so turns out that the elves don't have a whole lot, but I mean, there's always the dwarves, there's always the Conorian royals. There's lots of other places you can check.
The economy is in shambles.
Yeah. The world of Final Fantasy has been hit hard by COVID. Looks like Greggly gonna check the Northwest Castle first. And the Power Staff and the Heal Staff is best he's gonna find. Asps have Cremate. That's gonna make Earth Cave less friendly. It already wasn't particularly friendly, but it can get worse.
Hey, Ghost had Cremate too. Hey, that's actually pretty okay tiles.
Oh man, you found a ghost tile. That is like one of the best undead tiles you can find.
Yeah, as long as they don't punch you.
Yeah, like it's going to depend on a lot of factors, you know. Like let's hope it's ghosts who rolled flash and just want to keep casting it. But there's a significant amount of experience available if you can get through that fight. Looks like Deng gonna check what's up here in the hairpin. Gonna find a Zeus gauntlet. That will be a big deal as well.
Alright, we can actually
And
do stuff.
Mummy's on a grind tile with the Wiz Mummy. That also is pretty good. So Gurku, it seems like it was almost designed for this party. You know, you're gonna get a second caster item, and you're gonna get 2 trap tiles with undead monsters.
Yeah, if only the
That
boss
is-
at the end was undead.
Yeah, that doesn't have a very high chance of happening, but it's definitely good to see. And looks like Deng's gonna take this fight again, choosing to use the Zeus Gauntlet and the Thor Hammer rather than any kind of harm charges. I'm not sure if I'd agree with that. I feel like the Thief can be using Lit 3. Or Lit 2, rather, instead of the White Mages. But either way, he's going to get through the fight without too much difficulty, and he's going to reach level 9. Which I haven't seen Greggly's levels, but I'd imagine that they're not that high.
No, that's about level 4.
So these Sahags casted Lit 2, Greggly's going to say, I've got that too.
Lit also.
Yeah. Lit as well. So we have our first bridge boss at 1544.
That's pretty quick, honestly, for a bridge boss. So, moving
Yeah.
on.
He's gotta check what these dwarves have to have. Hopefully he's got enough money that he can get an exit spell. That's definitely going to be useful when he chooses to go to Gurgu.
Yeah, when you get across those 2 tiles and then decide not to fight Carrie, it'll be real important.
Yeah. Because Carrie, as some people may be aware, is not undead and is not weak to harm. Garbage Dwarf Armory, the dwarves apparently also hit by our economic downturn, so...
Yeah, I was gonna say Greg is just abandoning the boat. No, I did that, but...
He briefly considers going to Temple of Fiends, but sees his boat isn't where he thought it was going to be. It's sitting at that port, so maybe not Temple of Fiends next. He's going to go to Conaria, check these 6 chests. We'll see if the human royals manage to keep their funds intact.
So
So far, not so much. Well, that's all told together. It's a fair amount. He got about 15K, and he got a silver hammer, which, when you're happy to see it, you drafted the wrong party.
The mistakes have been made.
So it's one of those situations where everything that makes you happy has to make you sad again. You have to go, oh good, a silver hammer, and then say, what did I just say? What have I done? How did I get here?
That doesn't sound like something I'd say.
So Nightmares and Evil Man would be a great trap tile for any party that could kill him. If you
Alright, we got hard 4 on the zombies. We can do this. Yeah, we killed some.
Yeah, the zombies feeling potentially like we bring in a little bit of overkill. Greggly gonna find nothing in Temple of Feeds. Chooses to just reset out. So now he's got Marsh left if he decides to do it. I don't expect him to go there. But he's got 22,000. That's going to be enough. He's going to be able to pick up plenty of tents and heal pots, and also probably going to be able to grab all the spells he needs from Elflin.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those scenes where you just sit in Gurgu and grind to like 15 or 16 and then go into Ice Kid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we saw gold bracelets for sale, right?
Yeah.
And we've got the heal staff and the power staff, so it's possible that we can sell enough to get that.
Alright, we also got Marsh.
Is Greggly going to Marsh?
It looks like it. I mean, it works for Caleb, right?
Does it, though?
I mean it works in the way that anyone that plays against him just goes crazy, so yeah, probably.
It works sometimes. And I guess sometimes is better. Something that works sometimes is golden for this party, I guess. Greggly not even gonna bother equipping the cloth armor for that thief. That thief is completely naked. But he's using the Thor hammer and harm charges to sort of get through these fights as safely as he can.
Yeah, it'll be great until he runs into
This?
well, I wasn't even thinking this. I was thinking more like discount lobsters.
Yeah. Anything that isn't gonna go down to a lit 2. I think was it Scum or Muck that resists the lightning?
It's Scum.
Yeah, Scum resists lightning. You know, so yeah, Muck is weak to it. I remember. So yeah, the Scums. You have no real way to keep it down.
Okay.
Yeah, the Wear Sword, he starts to equip it and then remembers it's not one of the 3 swords that's useful. The Wear Sword in the vanilla game comes at the same time as the Rune Sword. The Rune Sword can...
He's out that giant pile of money.
He found a chest for 25,000. Looks like the undead had been actually raiding the coffers a little bit. But was that the link chest?
It wasn't. It was the one over.
Oh man. If that was the link chest and he reset out, I would have been so proud. That's an amazing play if it's the link chest. So far, don't want to commentary curse anything, but so far it looks like Marsh Cave doesn't have a whole lot of nastiness in it. So Greggly gonna be able to get through, at least down to the floor where all the equipment is.
Uh-oh. How you doing on pure potions? Alright, we're fine. Alright, then gonna stock up on those gold bracelets. And I feel like this is kind of the last thing that he needed before going into Ice Cave.
Yeah, if Ice Cave is the play, then absolutely. I mean, you've got Exit and like Exit versus Warp. You take one extra fight when you're full clear in Ice Cave. If you're just going for the incentive chest, then obviously Warp is going to be faster. But when you're making the full clear, Exit's almost as good. So this Harm 4 going to take down these Bones and R-Bones. I don't know if I've seen a turn from them, so they could very well be sitting on Nuke or something, but nothing I've seen. Greggly going to expertly dodge those 2 trap tiles.
Oh, here's two news, and there's Brack. Alright.
And, yeah, Brack, not the worst thing to see. If you can get out of the fight, you can use softs and bring your party members back, but I did just start out by saying if you can get out of the fight, and Greggly was unable to do so.
Yeah, just running away like statues, and that's what they ended up becoming.
Yeah, likely going to skip the chests that he's already checked. He's gonna go the long way around this time.
Where's the canal? Where's the Caleb canal?
Oh, you don't want it to be the canal if you're GregglyPuff. You want it to be the loot.
Or the floater.
Or the floater. Can you imagine? It's just so nasty when you find the floater somewhere like that. Like, okay, I can go take a bathroom break. I'm pretty sure I'll still be ahead when I get back. So, GregglyPuff not at a level where he has charges for exit, which could very well come into play. We saw that the Gerwolves had Brack, and we've got a. Let's see, he was at level 6. He does have a Live 2 charge, I believe. Okay, yeah. But reflecting for a moment on his lack of exit. So, he's whatever he finds, he's gotta walk out.
Here's a fun runnable. And it's especially fun because they only have 100 HP.
Yeah, so not...
If you can find the 4-pack of that, that'd be great.
Yeah, not typically an easy encounter to deal with because they have so much evade, but when you don't have the ability to hit them anyway, you don't worry too much about that. And these also have lower than 100 HP, so Frostwolf's potentially going to be a decent early chance for levels.
And good timing on Deng's side. The thief fails to run, and the last white mage gets stunned. So
yeah, but Deng not silly enough to try and take a grind in an ice cave. He knows that, especially with this party, that's just not a guarantee. As we find a rock gall tile on GregglyPuff's side, so even though that's not going to be useful now, it's useful to know it's there.
Yeah, that thief got obliterated.
Yeah, well, the thief is not even wearing cloth armor, so a ninja equipped with like a flame armor would actually be able to withstand them fairly well.
Oh, Greggly, no!
Greggly is gonna use the white shirt. He's in it for the long haul. Let's do this.
Greggly, no!
If he's gonna do that, he had to use the defense sword, but chose. They have cremate. Good, put him out of his misery. So that Marsh Cave dive not paying off in terms of the items that were found, but could potentially pay off later in the seed, because this is likely to have a seed with a late game. It's a good chance to grind to, I don't know, level 70.
Yeah, I mean, you can use your 2 fate charges on the worm tiles, it'll be great.
Yeah. We don't have it yet at level 4, so best case scenario, Fate is going to be level 5. This is exactly the way you'd want the seed to go. If you were, well, I mean, if you're
Dengwoo.
if you're looking to hurt people.
You're Dengwoo.
Yeah, I think I just said that.
Oh man, this is not a good fight to take already because the gators can hit super hard even through gold bracelets, but hey, there's a sun sword. You put that right on the red. Put that right on the red mage.
But yeah, put it on the red mage or the fighter. Both of them are gonna make great use of that sun sword. Oh wait.
Alright, it's Greggly's turn in the volcano now. And is gonna get ambushed by mummies. That is a disgustingly high roll ice too. Wow.
Yeah, that's not gonna be something he enjoys seeing. But I mean, you don't play this seed so you enjoy it, do you?
It depends. Like, do you enjoy
Ice sword.
suffering?
That's gonna be really useful. That ice sword, you can put it on your
Ninja.
Yeah.
This is one of those seeds where is the pain that you're currently suffering less than that of your opponent.
Yeah, and you'll wonder that, but at the same time, you know, knowing it's self-inflicted, I think makes it hurt a little bit worse. I can speak from experience on that subject. As it looks like GregglyPuff going to take advantage of this grind. Yeah, Harm 4 gonna cut through these mummies and even the Wiz Mummy. And yeah, it looks like the Wiz Mummy rolled about 100 HP. That's pretty good.
Yeah, usually that's the guy that's gonna soak 2 or 3 of those Harm 4s, but if you can knock the whole group down in one shot.
Yeah, so it looks like he's got a little more than 100. But yeah, below 150, so definitely manageable. And Greggly is no stranger to grinds. He prefers to run black belts, so he's used to having to grind for but like he has spent more time just stepping onto trap tiles over and over again than probably anybody else in this community.
I mean, you could see that expert form.
Yeah, he's very good at the stepping back and stepping back on. Yeah, no exit for Greg, someone asks. You get your first exit charge at level 8. So Greggly left, he walked out, he used the house, now he has an exit charge, so now he's willing to take these more speculative chests.
Alright, Dengwoo gonna search the wall, doesn't find anything there.
And we're gonna see, assuming that these sorcerers don't have anything, fingers crossed, we're gonna see what the floater chest has. Dengwoo hoping for a vanilla floater. We see Mad Ponies, that's not gonna be too terrifying. And we see the rod, which of course we did not want to find. And yeah, Greggly meanwhile going to find his Zeus gauntlet. And chooses to continue going. He's going to check these chests before he exits out. So he's going to see the ghost tile, and we'll see how he chooses to respawn to that. Well, he's not going to run away, that's for sure. They reach out and touch that thief, but they also have fairly low HP, and using cremate, I mean, it's better than reaching out and one-shotting someone, so He's gonna get a couple levels out of that. And find a ribbon.
That's pretty good.
Did Dengwoo find the ribbon?
I don't know. I think he skipped it.
He did skip it, Crabcake's telling us. Well, I mean, he's back here now, so there's a fair chance he'll find it.
Yeah, no, he's back here now, so there's a good chance he'll skip it again.
He got an counter on the step to check it and then never did. So the question is, does he know that he missed that chest? Because if not, that could be very important. So if you're just tuning in, we have Final Fantasy Randomizer Spring Tournament. This is round 5 actually, between GregglyPuff, who's 2-2, and got paired up to face Dengwoo, who's 3-1. And this is a drafted round. Dengwoo opened with White Mage, and Greggly said, "I like that. Let's do that twice more." And Dengwoo said, "Okay, but no more," and chose a Thief for the 4th round. So the resulting silliness that you see before you is a collaborative effort between GregglyPuff and Dengwoo, and they are the ones who are suffering most from it. So there is justice.
Meanwhile, hey, there's a light axe.
Yeah, that light axe is going to be fairly helpful because we didn't have any way of casting Harm before, or Harm 2 rather. We didn't have any way of casting Harm 2. Now we do. And yeah, GregglyPuff just making these checks. He's got exit. I fully expect him to make use of it because I don't know what Carrie has, but it's probably more than what Greggly has. So right now, our runners are just looking to find a way to escape.
Not like this.
Well, yeah. So you got this. Just keep passing ruse. So he does check to make sure that his White Mage still has a life 2 charge, and he does. Oh, but the crit gonna take him out.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
This is probably the best thing that could have happened for Greg, just because that takes so much time. Just reset.
Yeah, that said. Oh, Greggly gonna skip. Oh no, I guess he exited out and saved the ribbon. Okay. Yeah, but did Dengwoo actually go in and grab that ribbon? I don't think he did.
I don't think so.
So yeah, Greggly gonna have an early ribbon lead, which, if you're gonna have an early lead, let it be a ribbon lead. That's one of the better leads to have, especially when you've got a party that's susceptible to everything.
Weak against all.
Yeah.
Alright, well,
Damage, my one weakness.
That Sun Sword's gonna do some good work against the undead here, Wade.
Exactly.
I'm cremate in a volcano, no! Wait, is Greg just skipping the rest of the chests from here on out?
It looks like he knows he's gonna come back when he's going for carry. So right now, as he's burning an encounter. Oh wow, was he? Okay, so he knows that Red Giant's is unrunnable, so he booked it to the next floor, burned that encounter away, and may now go back. If he does that is I'm not sure how well it'll pay off. Yeah, it looks like that's what he's doing. Like that is very clever. We'll see if it pays off for him because you don't know what the encounter is after that. And he finds the canal. And Dengwoo, meanwhile, gonna see the red giants. He gets his white shirt off immediately in the defense sword. So we'll see if Dengwoo can actually get through this fight. It is possible he's got a better setup.
Yeah, it's looking a lot better with the evasion stacks coming out already. So as long as those Thorhammer casters can survive until the evasion comes up, this should be pretty straightforward.
Yeah, but we don't know how much HP these things have. It might actually take longer to beat this fight than it will to wipe. As the Sags are the guardians of that chest. Normally you don't care about them, but when they're casting Lit 2 and you've got a party with no HP, and they're guarding the crystals, so Greggly likely to just exit out with this. He's got the canoe, he's got the crystal, and he was considering it.
All the gift, it's good.
Okay, so it looks like Dengwoo gonna find that canal. So, he's gonna get all the stuff out of Gurgu that Greggly did, with the exception of that ribbon. And Greggly going back right now, he's he's gonna potentially see what that crystal leads to, and then we'll see what he chooses to do.
Well, back to the Sahags for Dengwoo, and was that a squint as well? Don't sell the Zeus gauntlet, please, no. Alright, so Greggly's gonna load up on the old gold bracelets here.
Yeah, not gonna be sad to have an opportunity to do that. Feel like you gotta sell that opal helmet. And I think he probably caught on to that as well. The silver you'll eventually be able to equip, but the opal, oh wow. It's as cheap to the shopkeeper as it is to Greggly.
Yeah, shopkeeper is like, you know, we overproduced on hats here, and you know, there just isn't a market for these opal helmets anymore. I could buy it off of you, but it's just, I'm doing you a favor, alright?
Yeah, Greggly failed his bluff check to say that he was really parting with something he could use. The shopkeeper, well aware that his option was to sell it or to throw it away.
But this helmet is made of diamonds. This ain't the PSP version, buddy. Alright, well, there we go. Level 7 or 8 fade. Good seed.
Oh, see, they hate to see it. At this point, I'm over it. I feel like they deserve it.
Yeah.
I'd be more upset if, if someone had forced this upon them. If this was like a random party built into this seed, then you can feel sad for them. But
I mean, I was asked to reroll.
Thunderclawed pointed out Mute was level 1 and nobody picked it up. If it makes you feel better, GregglyPuff spent a fair amount of his finances at the time to purchase Lamp on 2 of his party members. So we also haven't seen Cure 4, which will likely be important. So, you can get your guesses out in chat. Where will we find Fade in Cure 4? It's going to be level 7 or 8. Alright. How inconvenient is this going to be? We've got Onrak, Lefane, or Gaia.
Ooh, cashing the crystal and is rewarded with 2 other items. So there's gonna be your Opal Cheerio and Power Gauntlet.
Yep. Meanwhile, Greggly gonna ignore that, I guess, and...
Hey, this is a good grind tile. No, it's not.
Oh yeah, no, it's a really easy grind tile. Just cast Nuke a couple times, they usually go down.
That would be fun.
But yeah...
Even Nuke is not available to this party either.
I feel like Greggly must have forgotten that he had that crystal. It doesn't make too much sense to fully vacate the inner sea without making that check. Right, so
Yeah.
Dengwoo's gonna sort of just use his power of remembering what he has to his advantage and go turn in that ruby. So if this is the floater, then it's gonna be sort of a big boon to Dengwoo.
There's the paper zombies. Or Zombol. Alright, so...
Where? I don't see him.
You flip the paper over.
Oh, okay.
Alright, so... Round 1, we have... Blue.
So the loot is necessary, but it is not progression. So it's good to find. Eventually, it's not what Dengwoo's looking for right now. So he's got one more chance at a floater.
Alright, bottle. Here we go.
Yeah, do we already have the slab? We do. So it's got to be the bottle here.
There's TNT. More errands.
And the crowd goes meh.
The crowd goes mild.
So GregglyPuff gonna find his way through that maze.
Oh, this is a good tile.
Yeah, so lots of grinds available for these runners. The levels are there. I feel like you go for the undead for a little bit, and then eventually, like, you're gonna gain enough power, like, once you've class changed and have a good weapon, that you could even take on the worms. We've got a black shirt, that's also gonna be fairly useful. And, yeah, you ambushed these gargoyles, so run away, man. The Aegis Shield, that'll be a good pickup eventually when you get your knight.
There's toxic zombie D's, but Greg's pretty prepared with prudence and
Yeah, so Zombie D's just gonna be some XP for him right now. And Dengwoo has not yet turned in the TNT, so we don't know whether that's going to be useful or not.
Yeah, meanwhile, Greg picks up the doorbell from Mirage Tower.
Yeah, which is super useful eventually. It's required. You know, he hasn't found any whammy prizes, but he hasn't found the progression that he's looking for.
Oh,
and
he's gonna do the South Crystal turn in.
Okay, I like the South Crystal turn in. Generally, like, I think he found it in his inventory when he hit start there. But he's not going to like the result because there's no easy way to get back around to the Melmond area and turn that in. So he's going to be navigating a fair bit.
Yeah, I think the best case is he goes to Waterfall and finds either Crown or Herb over there, or he could just walk the. Where you going, buddy? You getting pro ranks?
Oh.
It's cornering the housing market.
Well, yeah, those houses are going to be incredibly useful once you have useful magic to go with them. It's not possible that he's doing a pop grind, is it?
I don't know. I
Yeah, I would hope
Has
he's just
to-
going
has
for the
to-
pro rings.
I mean, at that point, it would take less time for you to just go through.
Wait, that means he didn't have pro rings when he dodged all those toxics.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. I just had a ribbon. Alright.
He had a ribbon on one of his party members, and he got fairly lucky to have toxic completely whiff twice on his other two party members. As Dengwoo gonna discover that the Gerwolves or the werewolves I didn't see have fire too. And yeah, the Gerwolves have Brax, so I think it's the werewolves that have fire too, and the Lit 2 to follow it up. So he's gonna escape with a lone thief at 16 HP, and no, that's not gonna be good enough. So he's gonna just reset out.
Yeah, this place is lousy with Gerwolves and werewolves, though. So
And those asps have cremate. You know what would really help here, Will or Edge? A ribbon. I was just thinking, if only you had found a ribbon somewhere, you could probably get through here with a live 2 caster.
Alright, well, here comes Greg. He's do this Ruby tournament.
Yeah, so Greggly eventually gonna, he has to, find the Northwest Passage here to get through and turn in his Ruby, but once he finally does, he may actually do the TNT turn-in before Deng does. Which... Deng, you have the TNT, right? Where are you going? That TNT could be a floater. Question in chat, how did Deng grab this lead? What lead are you referring to? I don't know that Dengwoo is ahead right now. Dengwoo has turned in the Ruby, but Greggly has completed Castle of Ordeals. He found the Chime, which is necessary, but obviously not immediate progression. And he's about to do his Ruby turn-ins. He will find the loot, and he will find the TNT, and we don't know yet what that is.
Yeah, so right about now, Greg did Ordeals and Deng did Ice Cave, so it's about even.
Now, did Dengwoo finish Ice Cave, though?
There's the crown.
Oh yeah, he got the item. It was the rod. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I was like, why did I forget? So we've got a bit of a trolley fetch quest. We got the TNT will lead to the crown, which will lead to the adamant. So
Alright, so and the only way the bob.
Yeah, so you've got the TNT, so Sarda will say go to the dwarves for this progression. And you go to the dwarves, they'll say go to Astos, and Astos will say, I don't have progression, go back to the dwarves. And he gets so angry that you start a fight with him.
Hooray.
Someone in chat, Caleb, rooting for Adamant to lead to Herb. Yeah, I mean, it could. It could also lead to... Oh, there, it leads to the floater. So this was the required route.
Alright, so...
And Dengwoo gonna celebrate a little bit. Talks to the Hooray Dwarf 4 times. After 3 times, the Hooray Dwarf is sort of a little tuckered out. It says, okay, I need my distance now.
That's when he NPC guillotines himself.
he just says, alright, okay, you're coming on a little strong there.
I'm so tired.
So, Astos, gonna be, would theoretically have been a really difficult fight if not for the caster items, but with a black shirt and a Thor hammer and a Zeus gauntlet, you've got everything that you need. No matter how useless or lame your party member is, they always have that item command in battle. Greggly gonna find his floater, and we'll see. So if you're Greggly, do you turn in the floater, or do you sail to on-rack and see if they've got a vendor item?
You turn in that floater ASAP.
Yeah, it looks like Dengwoo agrees, and I expect Greggly does as well. Gonna see the Trollsy Sahags. Are they gonna get it off? Oh no. The Zeus Gauntlet gonna go off before they can cast Lit 2. Sahags feel like just reminding you of their existence every so often when you're sailing.
Should have used a tent.
Should have used a tent. You got 40 of them, man. So yeah, it looks like Dengwoo gonna grab that life 1 on level 6 magic, and a rub. I don't know if I would bother with that so much as just get the wall. You know, like the when you have life 2 at level 2, how badly do you need the or at level 3 rather? How badly do you need life 1 at level 6?
You never have enough life charges. Hey, we found Fade. It's at 7.
Fade is at 7. It is not White Mage learnable. It's White Wizard learnable. So once you find the tail, you'll be able to get Fade.
Alright, meanwhile, Greg is going to test out his Rosetta Stone lessons.
Do you ever talk to that first guy just to double check and make sure you took the time to translate?
Oh yeah.
Like when you're not super sure, you're like, I'm just gonna ask this first guy, and if he says "Welcome to Lufane" instead of saying "Lupa Lupa," I know I'm good.
It's hedge. I'm gonna spend a second to make sure I don't spend 20 walking to the other guy.
Yeah, I like to think that the conversation with Dr. Un is very, very quick. He says, "Lupa Lupa" means "here, take this chime," and that's all you really need to know. So Dengwoo gonna check. He found the cube and on rack. It looks like. So
or caravan. I don't know which.
No, it was on rack. So yeah, that was almost all of his gold. He still has 230 left in his name, and he's gonna make his waterfall check. And it's been a while since we found a whammy prize. What do you think, Power Bonk?
I don't know. I think either of these runners have had their breakfast healthy green Cheerio.
Okay, so the herb gonna turn into the bottle.
See, there's the milk for the cereal. You're good.
If the fairy not interested in offering you progression, there is a chance you can just stuff her back into the bottle and sell her back to the caravan.
She's like, wait, stop.
So these nightmares are gonna be weak to ice, but I don't believe that Dengwoo has the black shirt yet.
So this fight's gonna be a little nightmare.
Did we lose our commentary?
We lost it for a little bit, but we should be back now.
Oh, okay.
Did you catch that question in chat?
Yeah, and I answered it, but I guess I didn't. But yeah, Elastoid is absolutely a reference to Final Fantasy VIII. It's one of my favorite enemies in all of Final Fantasy, and I do in fact dispense laser cannons to anybody who is looking for them.
So yeah, if you like pulse ammo, please make sure to follow this commentator.
Yes, but you can mug a laser cannon from me. You cannot kill me for it. I refuse to drop them. So Greggly gonna make the same check that Dengwoo did. Dengwoo, he's got his tail. He's gonna go ahead and go through the cardia checks. At this point, like, you'd love to find a mass mutant. Any chest you check, you'd love to find something that would enable you to beat a fiend. Because at this point, we're just hoping to get them down. Well, I guess we have a defense sword. We've got a defense sword, a power bonk on Greggly's side, and you've got Fade. That's almost good enough. What do you think?
You're ready for Topher, my opinion.
Well, maybe not ready for Topher, but definitely ready for, Kraken with the defense sword.
Can you imagine if the tail was loose? I mean, thank goodness it's not. But...
yeah, that could have been a difficult situation to be in. So he's gonna go with the Sun Sword over the defense sword. Depending on your level, the defense sword has lower damage, but will have a weapon breakpoint for another attack later or earlier. So I don't have the thief numbers in front of me. I'm not exactly sure, but for a time, the defense sword will be better.
Yeah, it seesaws back between the Sun Sword and the Defense Sword, depending on when you get that extra hit.
Yeah, so Dengwoo gonna make the Ordeals check, Greggly making the Ice Cave check. They're basically covering each other's steps here, so seems like as good as time as any for a sort of a recap. This is the race between GregglyPuff, who is 2-2, and Dengwoo, who got paired down, and is 3-1. Alright, the draft went with GregglyPuff, or rather with Dengwoo opening with a White Mage and GregglyPuff countering with 2 White Mages. Dengwoo then finished the draft off with the Thief. And so far we found out that Fate is level 7, so we haven't really got a whole lot in the way of equipment. But we did find the King. The King gave us the Thor Hammer. Both runners chose to grab that before they went and handled Garland, so that was useful early. Princess Sarah gave us the Slab. We found a loose Oxyale in Temple of Fiends. Vicky gave us the Canoe. And the Circle of Sages gave us the Key. So that was enough to go check in places. We did finally find the canal loose in Gurgu Volcano, along with a number of undead packs that we could grind. And let's see, Ice Cave had the Rod, Volcano had the Crystal, which led to the Ruby, which ultimately led to the Loot and the Floater. So that got both runners flying, and now they're just checking for the remainder of progression. As Dengwoo definitely a better spot to get through this Castle of Ordeals. He will have pro rings in case he runs into the zombie Ds with Toxic, and he's got the equipment that he feels like he can take on some of these fights that GregglyPuff just had to run from. Yeah. Meanwhile, GregglyPuff gonna finally go to On Rack. He's gonna find his cube for a fair amount of money in the item shop there. He's also gonna find his tail in the waterfall. So hard to put. Hard to say which runner is actually ahead at this point. Both runners sort of making the same checks, and we're not going to know until they finish. Comment in chat. I'm shocked Greg didn't put the black belt in draft. Yeah, Greg chose 2 of whatever the other person chose. So if Dengwoo had opened with a black belt, Greggly possibly would have responded with 2 black belts. Although, who's gonna open with a black belt against GregglyPuff, really?
Maybe you will. That's about it.
Will Bloodworth might open with a thief. Cyrenus,
Who does
Dragon.
multi black belts in Unity? It'd be just Miot, right?
Just who?
Miot?
I'm not sure if I know who that is.
Yeah, old Final Fantasy player. Used to do the double 32 strat instead of going to 42.
Yeah, it takes about as much XP to get 2 black belts to 32 as it does to get 1 to 42. So I tend to agree, though. It can be it can be more effective, but it takes 2 character slots, so it makes your party fairly weak early on. Damarine in chat, who is clinched brackets, says I should learn how to draft. Yeah, there's a good chance you should. As did the Toxics? Did Dengwoo not have ribbons, or did the zombie Ds just punch?
Maybe it just went through. Maybe 3 256 that works all with that.
Yeah, not going to be an issue for Dig. In fact, choosing to leave these 2 party members dead. Now, pro rings were for sale in Provoca, so a choice not to get the pro rings once you're flying potentially costing Dengwoo here. But either way, especially when you don't have a ribbon, but he chooses to leave 2 of his party members dead. Gonna try and funnel some more experience onto this ninja, and this is not the fight that you wanted to see. It's got a lot of XP, but it's also got a lot of HP and a lot of damage potential coming out of this fight. As the waters actually look like they rolled fairly low attack, though. So never mind. This could be fine with the black shirt. Although they may wind up plinking that thief down. Critically, the thief is the only reliable way that Dengwoo is going to have to kill the Naga. So with the thief down, this could be a reset. No, looks like he's just gonna. Yeah, he's just gonna use the black shirt until it goes down eventually. So not very fast, and certainly not where you'd want all the XP to go. But it is a solution, and he's not gonna have to reset out. Meanwhile, Greggly is going to make his class change, and we'll see. Yeah, he's got the flame armor now equipped. He's got the what is it, the defense sword or the sun sword that he's going to go with? Looks like he's going to go with the sun sword for now. So and he's going to be able to equip that Thor hammer if he decides to. So yeah, definitely a boon to be able to get that class change. Meanwhile, it looks like Dengwoo is choosing to set up for a grind. He does. You can see his inventory. He only has 1 pro ring, so very dangerous if he were attacked by some of those zombie Ds. But You never know exactly what's going to happen there. Gonna get his evasion stacks up as best he can. This is a slow fight for sure. Potentially faster when his thief lives, though. I think the adaptation he made of just using the defense sword to start with the thief, or with the ninja rather, is gonna get him through this. Yeah, several of our more experienced runners in chat pointing out this is just not as good a grind as the zombies that are just right up there. This is far too slow. But Dengwoo has decided that this is the path. So I mean, he needs to find experience somewhere, and unlike GregglyPuff, he did not see those rock galls or the worms that are in Marsh Cave. So Greggly, meanwhile, gonna pick up some magic. He's gonna pick up Brack for his ninja. I believe there was Ice 3. He's gonna pick up Fast and less importantly Zap. So lots of interesting black magic available now that he has it. I believe Warp and Temper were also available. Warp going to be less important now, but Temper a useful spell. And Greggly's, it looks like he's ready to do orb dungeons.
And this is not one you want to see. Definitely not. How about the next one? Yeah, those are some bad men. Never mind.
Yeah, hard to say. I mean, you've already seen the Nightmare Trap tile. You've already seen the rock galls and the worms. It would be nice to find something, but if you have to go looking for a trap tile, it's not like this is the most efficient party. Like, if you have to spend 2 minutes actually going to find your trap tile, I still feel like you'd be alright with this party.
Hey, there's a shark. That's not useful either.
So, Greggly gonna do an actual dive of this dungeon. He is in go mode, so he does know for a fact that he doesn't need to dig any chests. So I expect him to grab some for equipment, but I don't expect him to make a full clear of Earth Cave, which is good. Nobody really wants to do a full clear of Earth Cave. Question in chat, where is the cube Greg's missing? It is an on-rack shop, and I believe that in fact I know that he purchased it. So our tracker possibly having a little bit of technical difficulties, and we will highlight that for you, but he does have the cube right now.
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, not even the vampire wants to full clear if that's why he stopped halfway through.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, he could get past that rod door if he wanted to, but he didn't want to. I mean, it's darker down there, you know, like, it's just a drag. There's that room with the bats and the trap tiles.
Yeah, the second bat room, they make so much noise. They're up all night. It's kind of frustrating. Hey, more this speed brought to you by Big Soft Potion.
Yeah, the glance on yeah, the glance cast on one of these white mages, it's gonna go through. So I mean, we only still have the one ribbon. We are susceptible to stone casting, but largely gonna be all right. As I close OBS to make sure it doesn't make any terrible noises.
Did you get another follower?
I can only assume.
And see, somebody who wants that pulse ammo.
So, I worry that my mouth may have made promises or may have written checks that my ass can't cash. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, a little bit like that.
So yeah, we were having technical difficulties with the tracker, but it looks like it's up to date now. So far, we are 1 hour, 13 minutes in, and nobody's lit any herbs or lit any orbs. Whether they lit herbs.
No, I mean the elf prince lit some herbs.
Yeah, it's one of those rare herbs that wakes you up rather than putting you down. But yeah, it looks like Greggly is going to be the first one to light an orb, and it'll be probably before 120. So definitely a jet seed here. I'm not even kidding. With this party, this is a jet seed. Yeah, so Dengwoo going to take on these vampires. He's level 24 from that fight, so doing fairly alright with levels. I mean, if you had a fighter, level 24 is about where you'd want to be. With this party, you're about halfway done.
Yeah, and you'd feel pretty okay if you had a katana or a Masmoon as well. And hey, that's what Greggly finds.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge boon to Greggly right there. He's got an endgame sword. It's the second best sword, or potentially the best, depending on who you're talking to. For the
hey, there's a Masmoon.
And a Masmoon is the other contender for best swords. So, Dengwoo considering briefly putting that on the white mage. So you have two attackers, and he's going to find a ribbon as well. So it looks like this Sky Palace is going to give him sort of a lot of the stuff that he needs, and it's going to maybe make up for his missing that ribbon earlier.
And it's just gonna make the Sky Crew that much more insufferable as well.
Oh, absolutely. Although, to be fair, we found a katana and a ribbon not in Sky, and Greggly could skip that room and be perfectly fine in Topher. I feel like Final Fantasy Randomizer doesn't have enough cliques and teams, and like there's Team Tyro and there's Team Vorpal and there's Team Sky and there's Team Nevermarsh and there's Team Astos as a friendly king. I don't know, I feel like there aren't enough of those. We need more memes. Bring us your memes. As Dengwoo also going to find ice armor. That's going to be endgame armor for the thief. He already had the flame armor, but ice armor is going to pair well with that flame shield he's got.
Yeah, so you don't feel so bad when you get Infernoed.
Yeah. It never feels good, but it can feel less bad. Much like commentating a race with 3 white mages. It feels less bad when you're joined by Edgeworth. Anyway, it looks like GregglyPuff gonna pull our first fiend, and big surprise, it's Lich.
And boy, you are in the wrong neighborhood, Lich.
Yeah, Lich says, wait, you brought 2 harm forecasters? This is not fair. Actually, Lich doesn't say much of anything, because he's already dead. Dengwoo gonna full clear Sky, it looks like. Not sure exactly what he's still looking for.
Alright, now with the katana in hand, Greggly feels like, hey, I might actually be able to finish this.
Yeah, so let's see if he checks those chests that he orphaned. Actually, no, he didn't wind up orphaning them, did they? Did he? He was just doing an encounter manipulation. So yeah, he's full cleared this dungeon. He's going to be able to just go right to carry.
So I mean, by just looking at everything, we have, what, Loose Cheerio?
Yeah, it seems that way. Although, have we done all of the fetch quests? Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, it's gonna be a loose Cheerio. Yeah, GregglyPuff making short work of this. You know, it looks like he may have 2 orbs lit before Dengwoo has 1, depending on the timing here. Right. Obviously, the orb that Dengwoo is lighting, it takes longer, but GregglyPuff making pretty short work of these dungeons.
Cracker Extraordinaire Danny confirming that it is a Loose Cheerio.
Excellent. Big thanks, of course, to Danny, not only for tracking this race, but for managing the schedule for most of these races. You know, all of the crew owe her a great deal for her help and for getting all this organized. So, as Greggly very nearly exits, we can thank the devs for adding that nope out button for exit when you accidentally cast it.
Yikes!
Yeah, in an earlier patch, Greggly would have lost about a minute and a half to that. But meantime, it looks like he's got 10 seconds to kill Carrie before minute 20, and we've got a war mech on Dengwoo's side. Long before we even had a chance to get our Bless RNGs out, there he is. And it looks like he's going to take this fight.
Oh, dang, your memes are going to be the death of you. It throws the A-Rub out, so if he's got crack, we're good. If he's got nuclear, not so much.
Yeah, Dengwoo only having the 1 ribbon, but wow, he's the war mech it seems is willing to kill. So not our usual friendly neighborhood robot chicken here. No, yeah, he's losing some steam though. I feel like he's going to be able to take care of him. But yeah, Greggly before 20 minutes or an hour and 20 minutes is going to have 2 orbs lit and is coming in on this dungeon. Looks like he's going to be checking some chests as well. If he gets the Mass Mune as well, he's going to be in pretty good shape. But even with what he has, having the Power Bonk and the Katana, I feel like you're going to be in fairly good shape. Yeah, Warmech going down on Dengwoo's side did not have a whole bunch of HP, so that's going to be helpful to him.
Greg, just use the fades. You're right outside.
Yeah. GregglyPuff falling into the hole that I often fall into, where you forget that first floor of Mirage doesn't count. So you don't need to preserve spell charges, you can just use Fade. If you've only got 2 charges in Nuke, you can use Nuke. So these unrunnable encounters gonna give Greggly a little bit of trouble.
This one's gonna give Greggly a lot of trouble. So those are some bad men. They seem to have rolled pretty high.
Yeah, but he's gonna have the black shirt, so the nightmares are gonna be taken care of, and his thief does, or his ninja rather, does have the katana, and will barely survive. Oh, maybe not. We've got another round of this.
Yeah, it's looking a little dicey. Good turn order.
There we go.
Real good turn order. Alright.
And that's going to bring his ninja up to level 21, so he's still got a bit of a level disadvantage to Dengwoo, but not significant. As it looks like Dengwoo's using that the sprite put together by Uriel Man. Tiamat wearing the gas masks, going to try and avoid Bane. Doesn't typically work out for Tiamat, though. Fortunate this time, though, that Dengwoo does not seem to have brought his Brack Strats with him, instead going to use the mass mune and knock him down.
Yeah, not immune to cut.
Nothing's immune to cut. So Dengwoo's going to light his first orb at 1 hour 23 minutes. He's going to be 2 orbs behind GregglyPuff, but obviously this is the dungeon that takes the longest, especially when you're full clearing, so we'll see how long it takes for Greggly to finish this dungeon. Dengwoo could theoretically clear the next 2 orbs in the next 5 minutes. Yeah, Greggly choosing to take a lot of these encounters. This encounter, there are no bad XP fights in Mirage or Sky, but that means that you can always choose whichever ones you think are going to be faster, because again, there are no bad XP fights in Mirage. Alright, they're just fast fights you can take and slow fights you can take.
Alright, Deng's gonna zoom through Earth, so doubt we're gonna see the katana get checked.
Yeah, that with having the mass mune, Deng doesn't need the katana, so likely gonna skip out on that.
You say that until you 5 hits, 5 damage at Tiamat too.
Yeah, it doesn't need. That doesn't mean he doesn't want it. You know,
Yeah.
Greggly, he's gonna check the left side and not the right side. So, potentially gonna miss out on that second ribbon and the mass mune. We'll see if he decides to come back. I believe the left side has 4 chests and the right side has 5, so that's not even a mathematical play. That's just... okay. So it started out looking like it was the pure go mode there, but he's gonna make the 6 greed chests on the right, probably make the 4 on the left. All right, both of those useful checks. We just happen to know that the items that he might be looking for fell in the other area. So Greggly is confident that he can get through Temple of Fiends without these items. He'd prefer them, but doesn't feel that he needs to check too many chests for them. And he doesn't. He just needs to check the chest that he just went by.
Checks. There's Burn. Oh, look at that. Warp strats. Oh, Deng's gonna find this katana.
Deng's gonna find the katana, and it looks like Greggly is not gonna find the mass mune. So, definite equipment advantage at this point to Dengwoo, because they're equal in ribbons, but Dengwoo's got the advantage of 2 swingable swords. Well, I guess there's 3 if you count the defense, but I mean, the ninja's only allowed to swing 1 sword at a time.
Limit 1 per customer.
Yeah, the push to have the ninja equip both katanas at once was unsuccessful. And how disappointing that second katana was vanilla in the game. You know, like, you find that chest all the way out of the way, you're like, I'm sure I got something really good in here, and it's like, no, we got the same weapon you already found for your ninja. And you go, oh yeah, if I was carrying 2 thieves, I'd be really happy. Meanwhile, get your Bless RNGs out in chat if you want to see GregglyPuff fight the War Mech. He's on the Bridge of Destiny. And we know from Dengwoo's side that the War Mech did not roll incredibly difficult, so could be a big boon to Greggly if he finds those levels. As Dengwoo gonna light his second orb. And Greggly gonna run. Oh, yeah, he will run from the Warmech and disappoint everybody. And he will be punished by a group of slimes. Yeah, get your booze out in chat. No, so Dengwoo lit his second orb. Greggly about to light his third. And you gotta give the edge in speed right now to GregglyPuff, but of course Dengwoo with the advantage in levels and with that second swingable sword is gonna have a bit of a stronger chance getting through any difficulty that isn't Topher. As looks like Greggly gonna leave that mage poisoned. Oh nope, thinks better of it. Anybody who's interested in those poison sound effects doesn't get them. So GregglyPuff makes the Tiamat pull, and it looks like, yeah, he's got that one white mage there, just standing there for to hopefully take a hit. He's gonna throw 2 fades out and use the defense sword up on his ninja. Gonna go for potentially a long fight here. Meanwhile, Dengwoo going straight to on-rack. We're gonna have a GregglyPuff using lamp on his ninja. His ninja has darkness cast on him, and Tiamat tries to stop the lamp from going off, but fails. So lamp will be successfully cast on the ninja, and sight recovered. Yes, Invis 2's going out. It looks like GregglyPuff definitely got his defenses up, so he's gonna probably start swinging soon. 4 hits for 184. That's not particularly useful, but like if only you had, for example, a power bonk, you could probably do more. GregglyPuff with afflicted with a little bit of indecision here, trying to decide what his second white mage is going to do. He's taken about the length of a round to decide. Ultimately chooses to use the Bane sword. Tiamat not wearing the gas mask in this particular image, but still able to avoid it. Has 3 hits, 55 damage. GregglyPuff going to gently nudge Tiamat to his death, or to her death, and lights his third orb. So Dengwoo is already in Sea Shrine, and GregglyPuff will be headed there soon. Yeah, so Dengwoo's still checking chests. These are the greed chests that everybody typically takes. I expect him to check 3 here, but no more. Finds a wizard staff and not much else. That falchion would have been real useful on a thief. Yeah, GregglyPuff gonna check the level 7 magic, not finding anything particularly useful. Still has not found Cure 4. So we're not sure exactly where that one is. Neither runner has picked it up, and yeah. We've got unrunnable ghosts on Greggly's side. This is potentially dangerous, but could just be a lot of free XP for him. They're even gonna kill that damned mage for Greggly. They're just trying to help you. Those are friendly ghosts. Still, Greggly gonna mow them down. Dengwoo gonna be slowed down by these Sahag fights. These guys are unrunnable in every instance of the game thus far. So Yeah. Always going to be unrunnable here, and still has to take some time. But Dengwoo will be the first on to Kraken floor. Looks like he's a little bit ahead in Sea Shrine, but as a key, he still has to take care of Gurgu Volcano, although you expect him to fully go mode that. So right now he's about a floor and a half ahead in this dungeon. And we're gonna get our... Oh, nope, he's gonna have to deal with lobsters first. He's just gonna run away from those, and we'll get nope. Got a few encounters gonna stop us. Final Fantasy Randomizer, of course, has a great sense of dramatic timing before we can see what Kraken looks like. He's gonna get his final healing in, and then start the fight. So, looks like we're starting off with Fades. We're gonna try, and Invis too, we're gonna try to see if we can get just enough damage to kill Kraken early. Could very well have rolled low on the HP. As Kraken reaches out and does 295 damage to one of the mages, you can't stand for that very long, and it looks like he's going to switch to some Invis 2 charges. Nope, he's going straight back to Fade. Meanwhile, the ghosts look like they've taken care of GregglyPuff's ninja, so Harm 4 going to come out. And Kraken only taking 1 damage from... Wow, did Kraken cast slow? I feel like Kraken cast slow. But the Thor Hammer is going to take him out with 80 damage, and he's going to get level 26 off of that. At 1 hour, 35 minutes, almost exactly, Dengwoo's going to light his 3rd orb. That means that he's just got fire left to do. Meanwhile, GregglyPuff just has the remaining floors of the Sea Shrine. This is pretty close. Dengwoo is gonna make the turn in for a power bonk. Gonna make the slab turn in. I gotta like this. This is a bit out of your way. But, I mean, especially after a fight like that, you're still susceptible to, having some enemy with a high absorb, so it's going to be nice to have that power bonk, just a little bit of safety. Of course, we know that the herb comes first. Yes, Demarine pointed out in chat, Dengwoo does not know that this is necessarily the power bonk. It could potentially be the Opal Cheerio for Deng, so we'll see how much time he chooses to commit to this. He's probably going to make his herb turn in, probably right after he does Gurgu. Yeah, Falconic pointed out in chat that the mass meme does make a huge difference. We're gonna see. It looks to me like GregglyPuff is likely to enter Topher faster. Alright, but there's no telling exactly what's going to happen once he's in there. There's always, of course, the chance that he wipes, or that for whatever reason, Dengwoo goes through faster. Yeah, we're gonna see if it looks like GregglyPuff throwing out potentially the Brack strats. Nope, just going with the defense sword. But he did take a look at his spells, and we know that he did purchase Brack onto Greg, or onto Puff rather. So there's a non-zero chance that he chooses to go through with that. But first he's just going to ruse up all his mages. He doesn't want to see anybody die. Oh, he's going to use his power bonk instead, so we're going offense here. Meanwhile, Dengwoo already mostly through Volcano here. This is a very, very fast dungeon to go mode. Yes. So right now we have not seen Cure 4. I think we've deduced that it fell at level 8. So mages with level 8 charges could theoretically go back and get it, but I don't know if anybody's going to make the trek to Lefane to get it. So I don't think we saw it in Gaia. Okay, GregglyPuff gonna light his 4th orb at 138.47, and at the same time, Dengwoo gonna complete his orb. So these two, like, give you an idea of how fast, or how close this race has been. They lit their 4th orb at exactly the same time. And it looks like Dengwoo's gonna go in and make that check in Gaia, see if Cure 4 fell in Gaia for the level 8. He wants to get those charges just in case. And there it is. So Dengwoo absolutely going to have Cure 4 for this Temple of Fiends. Meanwhile, it looks like Greggly's just going straight for it. So it's going to depend how difficult this Temple of Fiends Revisited is. Greggly not even taking the time to purchase the last 10 heal pots. So he's going in on 82 heals, but something tells me he's going to have enough white magic to be able to get through here. So yeah, going into Temple of Fiends, it looks like in terms of preparation, Dengwoo has the advantage, but GregglyPuff definitely a step and a half ahead of him. And Greggly's just running right now. He doesn't care for any of these fights. He's going to skip the gas Ds. He's going to skip... Well, he's not going to skip the mage fighters because he can't. But hoping that a Thor Hammer... Yep, Thor Hammer and Black Shirt possibly going to take him down. No, there? A little more tanky than he'd prefer. So it's going to take 2 rounds of caster items to take these guys down. It's a sandworm on the trap tile. I don't expect either runner to go ahead and take the grind. Oh, Greggly proving me wrong. So Greggly gonna take level 26 here. Oh man, he doesn't see his opponent. He doesn't know that he's seeding time here. It's gonna be hard, but in just a moment, when Dengwoo gets through this fight, they will be literally neck and neck. And Greggly gonna take this fight again. So get your guesses out in chat, by the way. Which fiend is it going to be that is the gatekeeper this seed? You know, we could have no gatekeeper. We could have 2, but we'll see. As Dengwoo's gonna go just blow straight past that tile, but he is going to check the validation chests, and he's gonna find nothing much. So Dengwoo with that grind from GregglyPuff is gonna take the lead. Greggly's still doing it. So these sandworms, potentially the gatekeeper for GregglyPuff. It's going to take him a while before he can get through them. And if he takes a bunch of levels, there's a non-zero chance that he casts Exit and leaves to save these levels. And that could potentially be very dangerous for him. Because at this point, he may need... Oh, and they're going to start running away. So he's going to keep going. Yeah, at this point, GregglyPuff needs something to trip Dengwoo up in order to catch up. So, despite his lead going into Topher, it looks like the potential grind gonna cost him. Yes, Edgeworth had to step out real quick. This race was not expected to go long at first, so Edge is going to need to do something real quick before he can get ready for our 5 p.m. race. So if you're enjoying this action, keep in mind that Edgeworth and I will be commentating the next race as well. Here on Speed Gaming, it's going to be Dark Moon versus Specty. And that race is scheduled to start in about 40 minutes. So here's hoping that Topher doesn't keep them stuck for 20 minutes or 40 minutes. Yeah, Lich 2 is going to go down on Dengwoo's side. He's approaching Carry, and it looks like he's about a floor and a half ahead. Both runners making excellent time. Both runners looks like potentially going to finish under 2 hours on a seed where you have this party. You know, I mean, there were some things that were kind to them and some things that were not kind, and ultimately this is impressive from both runners. As chat rooting for nuclear on one of the fiends. Yeah, let's see if we can find a way to make this work. And Dengwoo making these checks, gonna find a mage staff. So this is potentially gonna be big, because not only did he not find anything, but he took a lot of steps, and he's going to be at a different spot in the encounter table now. So it's possible that he'll see something that GregglyPuff does not, and it'll be a weird way for him to get back into the race. GregglyPuff now on fire floor as well. We gotta expect he's not going to make these extra checks. What? Kitchen and Check can get the fire orb on for Deng. Well, he has to kill Carry first, and you can see he's still on him. Yeah, the tracker having a little bit of technical difficulties. I can assure everybody we're both runners are in Topher, so we're all in go mode, and we've lit all 4 orbs on both runners. As these Grey Worms gonna give Greggly a little bit of trouble here. He's taking a lot of time when he's healing up. Just taking a little bit more, and Dengwoo making short work of this water floor. Is gonna pull Kraken fairly soon, and could pull Kraken before Greggly's through Tiamat or through Carry. Yeah, Greggly just has a little bit of indecision. He's clearly not used to this party. I don't know why he hasn't been grinding out practices with 3 white mages, but clearly not as familiar with this party. Not really sure what to do with his turns, and it's taking a lot of time. It's bleeding time the number of decisions that he's making. Okay, as Carry takes 10 hits, 450, and then 212 from Fade, Carry 2 is going to go down, and it's official. Greggly is exactly 1 floor behind, not counting the Fiend. So we're going to see now if Greggly sees a different encounter. Oh, is he taking this fight? Why are you taking fights, Greggly? Oh, wow, and Kraken casts Bane. It's going to come down on 2 party members, and we need Fade to work. We've got a Mass Beam caster, or a Mass Beam holder on Dengwoo's side as backup. But Kraken casts fast, so, and we're all out of Fade charges, so gonna try to ruse up and see if that's gonna work. But definitely a dangerous spot to be in here on Dengwoo's side, as we are down to 1 white mage using the power bonk. Kraken's gonna reach for 199. Use the cure 4. Fire 3 is gonna be a useless round, and we are neck and neck now. We are both on Kraken. Kraken's missing, so these power bonks likely to be effective. So Dengwoo will likely get through this. Kraken shows nuclear on GregglyPuff's side. I don't think that we saw that on Dengwoo's side. Oh, maybe we just did. As our lone remaining commentator will have technical difficulties and be unable to see the stream for a second. So, here's hoping we have no wipe. I absolute worst time to freeze, as the chat pointed out. It looks like Dengwoo made it through and is taking. Oh wow! And meanwhile, GregglyPuff is not in nearly that kind of shape. Down to just one White Mage. This White Mage obviously does not have a does not have a Mass Mune, so also does not have Cure 4, has Fade, gonna cast that. This could potentially be a wipe for GregglyPuff. We're gonna see in a moment. Meanwhile, Dengwoo using his fades on Tiamat, gonna try and get through this health pool. GregglyPuff out of fade charges, just down to using his black shirt. We don't have Cure 4 on GregglyPuff's side, so these lit 2s, typically just a free turn, could turn very important, as it looks like he's looking for healing magic. He's gonna cast. Oh yeah, he was going for the heal 3, but the nuclear is going to work, and that's probably going to be it for GregglyPuff. Not only does he lose to that fight, but he also loses the levels that he had. So that grind that he took has been erased from existence, and GregglyPuff now at 150 is going to make his redive. Meanwhile, on Dengwoo's side, looks like Tiamat has Blizzard. When you have a lot of wall charges or a lot of ribbons in your party, that's less of a problem. And Tiamat has Nuke. This could be a wipe on Dengwoo's side as well. We're back down to just the one White Mage with a single Cure 4 cast. And Tiamat has Swirl as well. This White Mage does have Ruse charges, and Thunder. This White Mage has Ruse charges, has the Power Bonk, has the Mass Mune, can eventually do enough damage, but I mean, can you survive Tiamat's onslaught here? 2 hits, 113 damage is not going to do it. 2 hits, 218, and Tiamat going back through the spell list, just uses Swirl, and yeah, we're sitting on 30 HP here. This is getting pretty nasty, and Tiamat gonna swing for a round, useless. 2 hits, 187, not enough, and Thunder will do it. Dengwoo will wipe and will re-enter Topher at 151. But key, GregglyPuff, still doesn't have the levels that Dengwoo does. GregglyPuff doesn't have the equipment that Dengwoo does, and GregglyPuff has one fewer party member to work on. So, given that we've seen potentially 2 gatekeepers in both Tiamat and Kraken, this may be like you still have to give the advantage to Dengwoo here. Okay, so it looks like our restreamer is trying something that we've got a bit of technical difficulties. So it looks like we will be back shortly. Yep. Yeah, so it looks like... Okay, yeah, so it looks like Dengwoo, he left. He went to try to grab something that was going to make it easier for him. And GregglyPuff finding this Force Oriatide fight, he's going to try to take it with his Ninja Stone, though. I don't know how useful it's going to be. Yeah, so this is one of those spots where, GregglyPuff, just because he's only level 26, he doesn't have that mass mune. He could theoretically get through this, but he's less a favorite to do so than Dengwoo. So while Dengwoo is behind, he's still more likely to win this, given what we know. So, question: what happened to Dengwoo on in chat? It was Tiamat 2 has Swirl and Thunder and Blizzard. So Tiamat 2 not playing around, and did seem to have a fair amount of Absorb as well. So his party was not equipped to deal with that. He had just used all his Cure 4s to deal with Kraken 2. So definitely a difficult seed in terms of what Temple of Fiends has to offer here. Okay, so GregglyPuff gonna pull Carry 2. We know that this fight was not particularly difficult the first time, but he's still gonna take the time to spend a fast charge, expend some of the Invis 2 charges. GregglyPuff, ironically, would have had a much better chance in this redive if he had taken the time to exit out after taking his sandworm grind and had saved. Of course, that would have made it almost impossible for him to win without the Dengwoo wipe, but we know Dengwoo wound up wiping, so very, very interesting. This is neck and neck for our runners, but once again, it's GregglyPuff who has the time advantage, and it's Dengwoo who has the equipment advantage with those Cure 4 charges, those Fade charges. He's much more likely to get through what the difficult things that we saw. That said, this is a randomizer. RNG is a factor, and GregglyPuff could easily get through these fights before Dengwoo does. Carry's going to take 9 hits, 247 damage, and be perfectly fine, but that Thor Hammer 24 damage is going to finish that fight. So yeah, and as chat pointing out, we still haven't seen Chaos. Chaos could very well be some sort of monstrous beast that immediately knocks down both party members' thieves and makes the whole fight difficult. We could very well need to see like a large grind before we're even capable of getting through here. That said, most of the really dangerous skills seem to have fallen on Kraken and Tiamat, so we would need to see a Chaos that had a lot of Absorb and also had a lot of attack. Looks like Dengwoo is trying to is he trying to grind? What is he doing here? He's either looking for a fight, or he's gonna burn these encounters on. Okay, so yeah, he knows the encounter table well enough now that he knows that these encounters would occur on water floor, and instead he's gonna burn them on fire floor. That's interesting. Yeah, we didn't see anything from water floor that was necessarily so bad that I would be worried about it, but he still makes the choice nonetheless to do that. Carry casting Lit 3 on Dengwoo's side, but we've seen this fight a couple times. We know while it's potentially dangerous, it's not anything life changing. So. Yeah, GregglyPuff gonna equip. Oh, are you gonna equip it? You moved it. You didn't equip it. Yep. Okay. Yeah, GregglyPuff getting ready for this Kraken fight. He knows it's not gonna be an easy fight. does some last-minute manipulation, and yeah, ultimately gonna get these fade charges out. We did see that Kraken had, I believe, a fair amount of HP as well. We saw Kraken opening with Nuclear or Bane. Either way, not a great thing to find, and I think had well over 1,000 HP, so definitely going to be a Gatekeeper here. And the Bane is going to hit on the Thief. That, like, was that through that wasn't through a ribbon. But yeah, going to cast Ruse here on the White Mage. And not enough. That's a wipe for GregglyPuff, and Dengwoo back in the lead. What is Marty swinging? Probably the Thor Hammer. Definitely not the Mass Mune that Dengwoo found. Yeah, Wall was level 6. Unfortunately, Dengwoo did it was promotion locked at the time that Dengwoo was there, so he chose to grab A-Rub instead. And has never gone back for the Wall spell. Oh, no, he did. Okay. Oh, yeah, that must have been what he did off stream while we... Okay, that makes sense. But, yeah, the Bane going to hit everybody but that White Mage. So, Kraken 2, not playing around. Taking the time to cast fast, but it's not going to make much of a difference when you got the 3 ruses up. But, yeah, Kraken does have some... dangerous spells. We know that Kraken's sitting on Nuclear and could let loose at any time. There it is, but low rolls for 80, so Dengwoo gonna be just fine. Damage Poison comes next. What else does Kraken have? Stop, not gonna do anything. Looks like another Nuclear to follow up. So this is gonna be very taxing for Dengwoo's Cure 3 charges. But ultimately, he's gonna get through here. And we're back to Bane, so it looks like Kraken just casting a lot of Lit 2 after that. But we know it does have a lot of dangerous skills when he chooses to use them. Seems like he likes to cast magic a lot more, though. Yeah, Dengwoo with the adaptation, he's conserving his Cure 4 charges, so he's going to get through this fight and have enough Cure 4, 3 charges, to get through Tiamat 2, so we'll see how well he's able to adapt to what he saw here. Yeah, so those Cure 3s that he's constantly casting, definitely going to be a lot slower than casting Cure 4, but Dengwoo making the decision that it's worth the time because he needs to get through this fight as well, and he's going to use Wall on his characters that don't have ribbons because, well, I mean, you need to. Yeah, he's got so much defensive magic to choose from and sort of wants to use all of it at once. He's got Wall, he's got Invis 2, he's got the Defense Sword. You know, he's going to want to be throwing out some heal 3s. He's got everything he could hope for in terms of defense, but definitely needs to get it all out before before Tiamat can hurt him because he needs to just preserve his offense. As it looks like the Soria's gonna glance GregglyPuff, same as before, and they follow it up with Thunder. This is not a good fight. So that one White Mage still wearing the ribbon, gonna be able to get through this fight, but I mean, how badly did you need those levels on that White Mage? Casting Lock 2 on Tiamat, and Tiamat comes out with the nuke that we knew was there. Heal 3 gonna come out, but still, we're looking like we're in a dangerous spot. This Tiamat also has Swirl, which is non-elemental, so and starting with the skills, uses Ink. So Dengwoo definitely doing some damage with that Thief or with that Ninja, going to potentially get through here, but it's a dangerous fight. Yeah, okay. And we're gonna see. Yeah, it looks like he's healed up properly from that nuke. Having a bunch of white mages, definitely a boom when it comes to healing. And 5 hits, 344. That's gonna do some damage. But Swirl comes out, and it's gonna be Thunder next. Swirl was the only non-elemental, so looks like Tiamat not gonna be able to do too much damage here. We've got evasion stacked up. We've been through all the really dangerous skills and spells. Like, unless Tiamat somehow gets all the way back to nuke, it looks like Dengwoo's gonna win this fight, slow as it is. And there it is. Tiamat will go down, and now we're gonna see if Chaos feels like keeping the gate here. Because Tiamat 2 and Kraken 2 both showing up in force. It's time to see whether this last fight is going to be much of anything. We've seen most of the really dangerous stuff. We haven't seen Crack, so it's possible he could open with like a turn 1 Crack and take out some party members before he gets the walls off, but we've got to fully expect that Dengwoo's going to start out by casting walls, so unless it's a first turn thing for yeah, see, and there it is. Oh, was it Invis 2? It's Invis 2. Okay, yeah, he's casting wall on one of his guys. So unless it's a first turn Crack, and it's not, that wall's going to go up. And the evasion stack's coming up as well. You got to feel like, maybe Chaos has nuke, maybe Chaos has one of the remaining nuclears, but I don't know, like, it's hard to have 3 gatekeepers. Casting the Invis 2 here. Yeah, Dengwoo getting his defenses up. He's gonna wait and cast Fades. Oh, nope, not even casting Fade. He's moving directly to offense. 9 hits, 664. Chaos can't withstand that for too much longer. Rub will slay one of the party members, but 6 hit, 375. Doesn't look like he cares too much. Ice 2 isn't going to do it for Chaos. 8 hits, 373. Done a little over 1,000 damage to Chaos at this point. And 5 hits, 253. That's going to do it. Get your GGs out for Dengwoo with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 8 seconds. Dengwoo will finish, and we see the immediate forfeit from GregglyPuff. So hopefully we're going to have both of these guys join us for a quick interview. And it'll have to be quick because we got another broadcast starting in exactly 19 minutes. So get your GGs out for Dengwoo. Both runners played a very difficult seed with a very difficult party to do it with. But Dengwoo managing to get through with that white mage, wielding that mass mune, and having that power bonk. That was the big difference for this seed. And it looks like we're joined by Dengwoo. GG, Deng.
Oh, no, GG. Wow. Okay, so yeah, that was a close, we went in about a minute. Okay.
Yeah, that was very close. You guys arrived in Topher at about the same time. You lit your 4th orb at exactly the same time. It was very, very close. But Greggly... critically, in Sky Palace, on Sky 1, he went left rather than right. So he missed that second ribbon, and he missed the mass mune. So had he gone right instead of left, this could have been very different. Because he did enter Temple of Fiends before you, but you had the higher levels, you had 4 party members, you took the time to grab Cure 4, and critically you had that mass mune, which turned out to be the difference.
Oh my god, I couldn't get any turn order on Kraken. It was awful. No matter what I tried, Bane always beat out all my walls. I was like, all right, well, guess I'm relying on.
Yeah, can you talk to us about your adaptations though on that Kraken fight?
So I mean, the reason why I went to Lefane was I wanted the power block, and I said, okay, if the ninja goes down, the white wizard can carry, and that's exactly what it did. So it was essentially Bane came out and it killed off most of my characters. I'm like, well, it's a good thing I did some Invis 2s, first time through. And so it didn't take long to get max evade, but it still hit me through crit, I think. And then it was like, second time through, I said, okay, I need to make some adjustments here because Kraken is baning. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try and wall off my ninja and keep him alive. Obviously didn't work, so I had to do kind of the same thing. And then for Tiamat, I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna move the ribbon over and I'm gonna put the wall on it just in case, and I'm just going to be spamming heal 3 the entire time as much as I can. And that's kind of what I needed to do. I think I went through like 10 12 heal 3s just to mitigate all that non-elemental damage that the Tiamat was doing.
Yeah, we saw this was a very, very complicated seed in terms of the adaptations that were made by both runners. For example, you saw the red giants that were unrunnable on Gurgu floor. Because Greggly was running a 3-man party, he wiped those the first time, and we were trying to figure out what he was doing. But he went to the carry floor to burn that encounter and then go back and full clear that floor. So very advanced encounter manipulation there. And then we saw something similar from you on the fire floor. You want to talk to us about that?
I was trying to burn off those waters. They were a little bit more popular than I thought they were. The good news is I didn't run into quite as many. But yeah, it was like just before Kraken 2. It was like off that hard recycle. It was like 4 waters, and they were hitting hard still. It was crazy.
Yeah, it looks like Greggly's having a little bit of difficulty with Discord, so he's not going to be joining us for an interview. Right. So, still GG to Greggly. It was a close race. Were you tempted at all, Deng, by those sandwiches you saw?
I was. I was.
You'll see. Greggly went in ahead of you, but he took the time to grind on those sandwiches, and that's when you took the lead.
Okay. What level was he when he went in first? Do you remember?
I believe that you had like 2 or 3 levels on him.
Oof. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a lot, but for this Temple of Fiends, that was massive. That was... because that spell charges, that's, an extra spell charge here or there is a big difference.
Yeah, the one spell charge, especially because Cure 4 was level 8, right? So those level 8 spell charges, you wound up making full use of those Cure 4s because it looked like Tiamat had the nuke and Kraken had the nuclears. So, and neither of them felt like going down immediately. Both of them roll in some fairly high HP and absorb.
Yeah, I think I had to burn a couple Cure 4s when I didn't want to off a crit through evade, I think, or something like that, or it was bad turn order or something like that. So I spent a bunch of Cure 4s, and then that's the reason why I wiped the T. I was like, he's got to be almost done. He's got to be almost done. Nope, he's not dead. Then I wiped. Oh well.
Yeah. So we saw the adaptation. It was a lot slower to use the Cure 3s in that Kraken fight, but it paid off because you still had 3 Cure 4 charges on your White Mage when you went and fought Tiamat too. And choosing a defensive strategy there as well, you wound up sort of just tanking all of it that Tiamat had to offer. And after that nuke and the swirl went out, right, with your walls up, you weren't fearing too much from the Lit 2 or the Thunders.
Yeah, that's one advantage of having 4 White Mages is they're all casting heal 3 the entire time.
That's the only advantage of having all these White Mages right now.
It really is.
Don't talk about this like it's the new meta.
But having a level 28 White Mage with a Moss, I know it's not going to be overwhelmingly advantaged, but it had enough where it could take a nuke shot, even that max roll nuke, and a couple extra MDF might help it. It's not guaranteed, but
Yeah, absolutely. So with this win, you advance to 4-1, clinching the play-in race, and a win next week will bring you for sure into brackets. How does it feel getting that far?
It feels great. Got to race against Greggly. I told him I wanted to go all out against them. He went all out against me, and we drafted this, which was amazing.
Yeah, you drafted this. You're clearly both bringing your A game.
That's the way we brought our A games. How to adapt, or quote adapt. No, it was fun. So 4-1. Obviously, I would love to make it into brackets. The problem is getting that next win because I don't want to do the play race just like anybody else.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, it's always better to be secure, but you got a fairly good chance even if you do drop to play-ins. Gotta say, after watching this race, nobody can bet against you. We're gonna have to have another broadcast start in about 10 minutes on this channel, and Edgeworth and I are gonna need a moment, so we're gonna do final thoughts and send this out to anybody who's watching. Keep it here if you want to see more Final Fantasy Randomizer action. But final thoughts from you, Dengwoo.
Just thank you, Edge, and well, I think Edge is there. Hi, Edge.
I'm back now. Dang, how did it feel playing the seed where you didn't have Quake?
It was awful, but I had Harm 4 though, so it was kind of funny. It was very, very useful. Moral of the story is, this is how you adapt. A lot of fun. CC, Thunder, Spells app. This party comp was out to you guys, and Alka's, or Will Bloodworth, I should say. So, thank you.
Absolutely, it is important to name your thieves after Will Bloodworth.
It is.
So with that, for Edgeworth and Danny, I got to give a big shout out to Edgeworth and Danny. Edgeworth, thank you for joining me in the commentary booth, and I'll see you again in 10 minutes. Danny,
we gotta do this again sometime.
Oh yeah, we should do this again sometime, definitely. Danny, thank you for tracking, and of course, big shout out to Danny for organizing most of the crew and all the behind the scenes work that's done for this tournament. So big shout out to both of them. If you're interested in seeing more of this, obviously you can keep it tuned to this channel, but also take a look at our Discord that Danny posted right in there. Join the Discord. You can run a few seeds on your own, do it at your own pace, and hopefully we'll see you in the next tournament. Also big shout out to the runners, GregglyPuff and Dengwoo. Make sure you give them both a follow because as you saw, they'll keep it exciting. Finally, a big shout out to Speed Gaming. Thank you for hosting us and for hosting so many of the spring tournament rounds. So with that said, I'm Elastoid. Edgeworth, you want to close us out?
Yeah, just thanks to the Dan Tracker Extraordinaire, and thanks to Speed Gaming for hosting us. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in about 10 minutes.